myself, Lisa Goodman, representing the Minneapolis City Council and the City of Minneapolis, are here just to talk a little bit about how we got to this point and what's happening going forward. So many of you know the plaza was constructed in 1974, and clearly it is showing signs of its age. You can look around and see that the trees, for example, are particularly stunted for trees that have been in this location for almost 40 years. There's all sorts of problems with the concrete, the rebar, but maybe most importantly, the space is just simply not ADA accessible. And that's something that we feel strongly as a city needs to be addressed. And so in 2011, then Mayor Ryback, along with the City Council, put some time and money into a plan to redesign and re-envision Peavey Plaza. And with a tremendous amount of community input and stakeholder feedback, we came up with a plan to redesign the plaza. And shortly thereafter, a small group of people from the Preservation Committee and Commission and community sued the city and demanded that we stop any potential changes to the plaza and wanted us to redo the plaza as we know it. That litigation went to the point where the plaza was designated a historic resource, and at that point the city and its stakeholders were unable to move forward with the construction, which would have been done by now, I'll note, if we had been able to move forward. So for the past 4 years, we've been trying to figure out essentially what to do. Do we want a new vision? I think that there are a lot of people in the community that think the current situation is totally unacceptable, and we really need a new vision. A vision that makes this plaza more green, a vision that makes it more accessible, and brings it back to the days of 1974 when people really saw this plaza as our town square. And so this afternoon, we will be taking bids on a consultant that we will be hiring to try to negotiate what changes can be made in the plaza. And our consultants who are working on the plaza can tell you more about that detail. We will be doing kind of yet another study about the existing conditions and try to figure out how we can negotiate with the preservation community to make sure that the plaza is not redone exactly as it is, because we've already learned that this plan does not work. But what can we do? And I will note that the Downtown Council, along with the DID, have done the best job they can to activate the plaza this summer. You can look around and see the food trucks in the area, the people playing with various pianos and toys, and kids out on the plaza, but it's just simply not acceptable and not enough to leave the plaza in this current condition. So we will hopefully have a plan in place that will allow us to adopt a plan for action by 2016, to have a construction schedule around 2017 for a hopeful grand opening in 2018. I will note that this litigation resulted in a really major missed opportunity because the mall is under construction right now, and it would have made much more sense to move forward with a new vision for Peavey Plaza on the same timeline as the new vision for Nicollet Mall. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but we're committed to making sure something happens, and hopefully it will be something better than what you see right now. So without further comments, I'll turn this over to Steve Kramer, my former colleague and Chair of the Downtown Council.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Goodman, and I'm just here to say we are very excited about working with the city and other stakeholders on this historic structures report, which, as Councilmember Goodman said, is the first step towards really creating a new vision within the constraints of the historic designation for Peavey Plaza. So that's kind of the mid and long-term vision that we are working on. In the meantime, as Lisa said, the Downtown Council is also very committed to programming Peavey Plaza this summer, to greening Peavey Plaza this summer. So we have a large volunteer group coming this Friday to plant new flowers and to really spruce this place up from just an aesthetic standpoint. And throughout the summer, there will be an extensive amount of programming going on, and I'll just mention some of the things to give you a sense of what's going to be happening around here. You know, we've got a lot of talented people downtown. I'm certainly not one of them, but those who can't play the piano will have a chance to do so. And we have a student from the Fair School who was serenading us before and will do so afterwards. So if you're a piano player, you've got an opportunity to play a piano here. And did you take piano lessons when you were a kid? I did not either. So beanbag toss. I mean, who doesn't like a good game of beanbag toss sometime during the day? Kevin Lewis, I know you're going to be down here tossing the beanbags, practicing. We've got books here. There's a bookcase up on the top level of the plaza. Northern Spark is going to have one of their events here this Saturday evening, beginning at 9 p.m. Very interesting. An electric playground featuring games like human foosball, the annual Right Fight with Revolver, which I understand is quite a deal. And that's sponsored by the DID. We're going to have Core Power Yoga on Tuesdays and Fridays throughout all of July and August. A fitness course taught by the YWCA, Peavey Plaza's neighbor just across the street here. The Sister Cities Flag Celebration will be here in July when the Sister Cities Convention is in the town. That's quite a big deal. Free live music every weekday and throughout August. And of course the park lot, which Lisa mentioned, will be here all during the summer, one of the projects of the Downtown Experience Committee. So that's a lot of specific information. That schedule is at downtownminneapolis.com/Peavey. So if you want to know what's going on this summer at Peavey Plaza, downtownminneapolis.com/Peavey. So we're very excited about what the summer will hold for Peavey Plaza, while we're also beginning to lay the groundwork for a brave new future for this important civic space that can be even more important in our community in the future. So thank you very much. Any questions? I know we'd be happy to take them.
So the plaza itself, over the objections of the city, was placed on the National Historic Register. As a result of that, no changes can be made in the plaza without first having a historic structures report. And we are moving forward on getting that historic structures report, something I refer to as yet another study, because all of this information was known to us when we put the original plan in place. There was just simply a disagreement about whether or not what you see now is fabulous enough to just redo it in its existing form, or we wanted to have a completely different vision. And the city council at the time wanted a completely different vision. You look at it.
Eric, that will be, that RFP was issued, I think, at like 2:30 this morning, so it is kind of breaking news. That's right. Yeah, you better run. And what that report will do is really create, I've described it as kind of an unimpeachable set of facts about what the physical conditions are that need to be improved here, and how those can be addressed within the constraints of the context of the historic designation that has been put in place, as Lisa mentioned. So this will really be the basis upon which the design for Peavey is made. So that'll be a next step. No, that's issued by the city of Minneapolis. So we've got a lot of our friends from Public Works who are here, who are currently responsible for the plaza, who are issuing that RFP and be part of that process.
Yeah, no, one of the reasons we're here is because as you look behind you, the multi-million-dollar renovation of Nicollet Mall is beginning. And a lot of people were wondering what was happening with Peavey Plaza. I get that question 3 times a week from constituents, what's happening with Peavey Plaza. They see all of the great work the Downtown Council is doing to try to activate the space, but they see the same physical condition. It's not ADA acceptable, it's not ADA compliant, the clock, take a look, is broken, the water fountain, the water feature, the motor has died 3 times, they don't even make those motors anymore, so the water feature has been out for a long period of time. The pool is an environmental nightmare, it's like a foot of water that sat there, it wasn't environmentally friendly. These are the existing conditions. And so we can't have them be the existing conditions going forward if we want this to be our town square. Yeah, I'll speak to that, sorry. Obviously I have some emotion around this. Yes, the feds require that the plaza be ADA compliant. And the suggestion made by those who wanted us to keep the plaza as is, wanted us to have a ramp going all the way down like this, because the steep grade of the ramp is an issue as well. So it really would change the historic look of the plaza anyway, in order to become ADA compliant, which is why the original plan called for raising the plaza up, so it wouldn't be in this trench that we're in now.
Eric, I think that will come more into play in this next phase when we get the basic structural report upon which a new design will occur, and certainly some of those discussions that occurred in the context of that settlement agreement will be a factor. But that's not binding in terms of it dictates what the design is. I think those are just some of the things that were talked about as illustrative of what might be possible. But we're really kind of, I think of this as sort of hitting the reset button, you know, and hitting it with a first start out of the gate of let's get this set of facts that everybody can agree on, upon which the next design of Peavey Plaza is based. Right. Yeah. And then what the constraints are and aren't of the historic designation. I think it's going to be done by the end of this year. Right. Right.
Any sense of the budget yet on that, or is that too early?
We're not taking design plan bids because we don't know what the potential look of it will be based on this designation and the subsequent litigation. This historic structures report will give us a sense of what has to be and what doesn't have to be. Correct. Budget is a question mark, funding is a question mark as well. It had been the kind of strong preference of the group dealing with this that we would create a design that the business community and foundation community and others would be interested in funding. We heard pretty clearly, we don't want to fund fixing what's there. We want to see something that is for the next century and the next group of people working downtown. This is a concern. Because if we're unable to raise the money needed, because we don't have a design that there's a lot of buy-in to, the preservation folks don't have any money. So they don't have the ability to say, here's the design we want and here's the money you need to build it. And we don't have a budget at the city set aside for a full redo of the mall, nor is it part of the Nickel Mall budget. Yes.
Right, that's a starting point, and I think one of the reasons that Councilmember Goodman in particular reached out at this time to the Downtown Council is to try to re-energize that downtown business community interest in this project. The Green Downtown Minneapolis entity will certainly play a role here, and Lynn Rockwell is here today. So much like with the Commons, where we're in partnership, we'll be in partnership on Peavey Plaza as well as this plan evolves. I think that's still a thought already. We're really working closely with Public Works through the Downtown Council to program the space, as I mentioned earlier. So that's still a possibility. Nothing has been resolved, but at a minimum, kind of partnering on this planning process and whatever fundraising is needed. That's something that we work with the city on.
But Eric, we want them to be our partners in doing the programming in the plaza. We are thrilled they're willing to be our partners in trying to generate interest in rehabbing the plaza. And from where I sit, we would love nothing more for them to take Peavey Plaza under their umbrella of greening downtown and operate at least 2 spaces downtown in partnership with the city. The DID has been an incredible model, and I think it's time to take it to the next level.
And to answer your earlier question, what are we announcing? We're announcing the RFP, but don't forget, we're announcing downtownminneapolis.com/Peavey. Okay. All the activities at Peavey Plaza this summer.